Hi and welcome to another edition of OnsideSA, and Budge and I are going to run through it with you. We're going to have our international pundit Stevie B come through from the London studio to update you. But as always, we always start with the last one standing, which is picking up a bit of steam.
Paul, yeah, Wolves in a bit steam. A lot of people had a bit of steam after Wolves and Man City went out, but nitty-gritty, Paul, it's getting tougher by the week.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just looking. Well, it's 112 of 273, but I do like the way you isolate some departments, and the ones that I want to talk about are the 7 ladies remaining. I'm going to run through their names: Catherine Armstrong, Brittany Berger, Marlene Laveau, Chantal Matthew, Sue Miller, Renee Ruiz, and Michelle Tovey, eh?
Yeah, Michelle's hanging in. Just hope she doesn't take advice from Neil.
That's the worry. That is the big worry. Letting Neil tell her what to select. And then, Budge, 4 previous winners. I see Crow's not here.
No, Crow went out early, Paul.
George Silensis? Out. So the ones that are left are Henry Nordi, old fighter.
King Henry.
Henry. Guillaume Nell.
Yeah, he's a lot to say this morning.
Sean Matthews, are very good. He's always concerned.
Yeah.
He's very
Toad
good.
Favourite at the moment.
Toad favourite. And Shogun Phillips.
Yeah, Sean.
He always hangs tough
puts up a good fight.
Yeah, he puts up a good fight, Sean. So those are the guys. And now, Budge, you've got to explain to the public your unbelievable award.
Well, Paul, there's several guys I don't think will go 1 round, let alone 4.
Yes,
and some guys have been staunch and they've been in from the beginning, so they deserve a mention, Paul. So
I'm going to run through them. So these guys have done well to get here.
Yes.
Stuart Cameron.
Yeah.
Chris Giorgio.
Yeah.
James Goodman. Jimbo.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Yeah. And that's France Cruet.
France Guillet, yeah. Mansfield boy. One of Mood's mates.
Gavin Lane, the footballer.
Yeah.
Charlie Piggrin, the legend, the Spurs legend. Does he never get this far?
No, he doesn't normally go 2 rounds, Charlie.
Yeah, that's like his boxing career. Charlie, raise the bar, please, pal. Raise the bar. I want to keep you in the game here. Levine Singh.
Yeah, Levine's been from the beginning, Paul. Yeah.
And Robbie Talon.
Robbie Rainsaver, my Juventus mate. Robbie's...
Okay, and then your best title you give is your MVPs of the week. Hassan Mall, wow.
Well, he was on Aston Villa. Oof. Yeah, only one man on Aston Villa was Hassan, so he deservedly got the...
That's right. And Devon O'Connor?
Well, Devon's a young guy who's always entered, him and his dad, Dave, but he takes 2 picks, and he doesn't put them on the same team, so he varies. So from the beginning, Paul, he's done great. And there's 2 picks going into round 5. Well done.
Okay, Budge, well, that's it. Don't forget to get your bets on. It's really moving. So we've had 4 rounds. We're down to 120 odd.
112, yeah.
Right, Budge, here's the story. Stevie B is going to join us now. Have we got him on the line, Budge?
Yeah, got him on the line. Morning, Steve.
Morning.
You're right there, Steve.
You're right there, Steve.
Yeah, all fine.
All fine, lovely.
Steve, your kick-off League Cup, less said about Man United, the better, but watch your boys the other night. One of the best games I've seen Cup football for a long time.
Yeah, well, considering we actually rested our entire starting 11 from Saturday, but still, I think it shows that we have a decent squad. Leeds, to be fair to Bielsa, he played 6 or 7 of his regular first-teamers started. And it was a good game. I mean, Leeds showed, sort of little spells of premiership class, but ultimately we more than held our own and probably had the best chances towards the end of the game. Penalties is always a lottery, and in history will say we're like England. We don't have a particularly good penalty shootout record.
Yeah, talking of penalty shootout records, Everton got beat by Aston Villa. Well, knocked out by Aston Villa on penalties, yeah.
Oh, lost the QPR on...
yeah, that's right.
And then Chelsea beat... I saw the penalty shootout last night. Chelsea beat Villa. And it is a lottery. I mean, obviously, they've decided that they don't want... a lot of the clubs complained if having to play extra time as well. So the matches have gone to penalties, which again makes it a little bit more exciting for the fans. But, quite often games are settled in extra time. So if you're getting very 90 minutes, that you've got penalties looming.
Yeah, Steve, I think it's a blessing. I just saw Man United, West Ham. I know United got beat, or Man United got beat, but it was end to end. This extra time, it tends to go a little bit sluggish. An extra time, nobody wants it. So rather have 90 minutes in or out penalties.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
I agree with it too, because you get fatigue-related injuries after going that extra half hour.
Yeah,
you're right. Certainly, that last sort of 10 minutes of the United West Ham game. I mean, both teams were going for it, and I mean West Ham probably had the two best chances
Yeah.
to wrap the game up, but United was still in it until the last minute. Although ultimately, for a lot of the game, particularly the first half, they looked a little bit sort of guileless. United, it's like sort of throwing 11 players together who have not played regularly, and it looked like it.
Well, just looking at it, I don't normally get upset United get beat, but the commitment from two of the players, it was great until the box. I thought Martial was invisible.
Okay.
Everybody, you need bodies in the box. United haven't got it. They played great up till the box.
Who's the starting forwards?
They had Martial. They had
Did they play?
Sancho played. Yeah, Mata played. Yeah, so it was 11. It was a decent team for all internationals.
And they couldn't score.
We had one or two chances. Once Greenwood came on and Bruno had a chance, but at the end of the day, when I had a look at the guy that Spurs should have signed, Bowen, I saw his commitment compared to Martial and Sancho was day and night. And I'm glad that West Ham went through. They deserved it.
Do you know, I watched the game Spurs against Wolves, and Spurs were fantastic. 23 minutes, 2-0 up. Harry Kane, great goal, a good goal from Ndombele. And then suddenly a free header, Dendonka 2-1. Dembele caught on the ball right in front of them. Boom, boom, 2 passes, 2-2.
Yeah.
Then both sides played good football. It was a really good. Harry Kane played well. How they kept Harry Kane out a couple of times. That header, I don't know. So Dele Alli's pass through to, I don't know how you say his name, Brian Gill?
Gill, yeah.
Yeah, Brian Gill.
Spaniard,
He hit it at the keeper, should never miss. But they had some good chances too. It was a very good game. And the penalties,
I saw the penalty shoot.
They were woeful. Yeah. They were woeful. Absolutely. One over the bar, one hit the bar, one saved.
Well, at least Spurs got through.
Yeah.
That's the main thing. Steve, you're talking about Spurs legends. Jimmy Greaves passing away. I see quite rightly got a standing ovation from most of the games I watched.
I mean, he has an incredible scoring record. I mean, I only saw him play live once when Tottenham came to Fulham. It was one of my first season. I went in 67, 68. I think for him, I think he never got over the fact that he got injured and then missed the World Cup final. I think that he felt, and I think that sort of contributed a bit to some of his sort of problems with drink. He never got over the fact. I think he felt that having sort of got back from injury, that he deserved his place back in the team. But obviously he went to Jeff Hurst, and the rest is history.
Yeah.
But he was a legend, and then sort of reinvented himself as a great and witty sports pundit. His show with Ian St John, which ran for many years, was really popular, and he was a love. I think he was one of those characters that everybody loved.
Yeah, he actually came to South Africa in 1962 with that Spurs double-winning team, and they played, I think it was the Castle Knights, but it was a South African team. And Les Salton, who was playing in the team for the South African team, they scored first. And on the way back, they were running cock-a-hook, the South African team, and they looked at Jimmy Greaves, and he had a piece of grass in his mouth. And the abuse he took from the Spurs players was frightening. And from the kick-off, about 6 passes later, he'd scored. It was 1-1, and they said they couldn't believe how good he was.
Yeah.
And then he was young, so the older guys here still remember him. But as you say, the Saint and Greasy show was brilliant. So, he'll be missed.
He'll be sorely missed, a legend.
Talking of Spurs legends, Harry Kane, a lot of pundits are having a go at him. Are you concerned, Steve?
Well, look, I mean, I think the whole saga with the transfer, was it going to happen or not? And obviously his sort of his statement saying he's staying at Spurs this summer. He didn't say I'm committing my future to Spurs. So I think the jury is out of it. But ultimately, if he does what he does best and score goals, then all will be forgiven. I mean, he's been a bit anonymous in some games.
Yeah.
Obviously against Chelsea, pretty anonymous really. Scored last night, and I mean, look, he's a goal scorer, and he wants. You'd expect him to carry on doing that. He's captain of England, so he has to sort of buckle down and just get on with it. And I think the Spurs fans, will give him the benefit of the doubt, provided he sort of puts in a shift.
Yeah. Basically, if you look at 90 minutes, we haven't won in 4.
Yeah.
Rennes, we drew 2 each. We lost 3-0 twice, and we drew 2 each again. So we got to raise the game, but Harry played very well last night. As being anonymous in 2 games, he bounced back big time.
Yeah, the class players all come back. Talking to class players, Ronaldo on Sunday, Steve. Of the 3 penalties, how many do you think United should have got?
Well, certainly for me, I mean, the last one wasn't given just before West Ham got there. I mean, to me, that was a stonewall penalty, and how VAR, wasn't referred to a bit of missed that was crazy, because when you watched it, I think afterwards in slow motion, it was no question. I don't understand this frustration, but I think there's still.
Yeah. Steve, do you think because of Ronaldo's... Yeah.
Sorry, so what was that, Bud?
No, sorry, do you think because of all his antics and his diving around and all his showmanship, the referees don't want to give him much?
I think that, possibly it. And you can see his frustration, but ultimately, VAR should be looking at these. And when they see, like to me, the last one looked a fairly stonewall penalty. It's hard to believe it wasn't given. And then I guess justice was done in the end, because West Ham were given one, which, obviously handball it was given, but it was missed.
Yeah.
So, but look, if he keeps doing what he's doing, Ronaldo, he's going to score goals and he's going to probably win more penalties.
That's true. Steve, on to the Premiership, massive game. We kick off Chelsea hosting Man City. Repeat of the Champions League final. How do you see it going?
Yeah, well, I think, City, it was a really poor performance against Southampton. Their only one shot on target was in the 90th minute from Foden. They had their couple of sort of big 5-0s against teams you expect them to beat the way they were playing. I think this is a bit of a banana skin for them. I think Chelsea, Tuchel's going to look at this and think, we can put a marker in the sand here. We can beat City and show to everybody that we're the team to beat this year. And I think Chelsea go in as favourites.
All right. How do you see them winning though?
It depends, with City, look, if De Bruyne's fit and plays, if Foden's fit and plays, I think, Pep has certainly missed them.
Yeah.
I think, he's got to play his strongest team, Pep. And if De Bruyne and Foden are fit, I think, they could maybe just hold Chelsea. But otherwise, I can see Chelsea winning this game, because City just seems to, they just struggled against Southampton. Very very un-City-like performance. They couldn't break them down without a Lukaku in their team. You wonder sometimes where the goal's going to come from if they're up against a very sturdy defence. So Chelsea don't often beat City, but I've just got a feeling if they're going to, it could be this year.
Okay, Man United, Aston Villa. Can Man United rebound?
I would think so. Villa have put up a couple of fighting performances recently, but I thought they played well at Chelsea the week before, and 3-0 flattered Chelsea. I think United come back and win. He's going to play his strongest side, and I would expect them to. I think it'll be close, but I expect United.
Okie dokie. The game I'm looking for is Leeds United hosting West Ham United.
Yes, there's no question. Leeds look as if they are going to concede goals. They're quite cavalier at times in the league games. We saw how they sort of came unstuck against Liverpool, even against Newcastle. I thought Leeds were going to walk away with it, and then Newcastle picked them back. West Ham, have been much harder to beat in the last year than they previously. I fancy West Ham could hold Leeds. I think it could be goals, but I think it could be a good game.
All right. On to Sunday, Southampton against the struggling Wolves. How do you see that?
Yeah, I was very disappointed with Wolves last week against Brentford. They really struggled to break Brentford down, and Brentford thoroughly deserved to win. I didn't see the game last night. It sounded like Wolves came back, but Southampton have drawn a lot of games, and I think they take heart from their performance against City. I fancy Southampton to edge that.
Okay, and last but not least in the Premiership, the big North London derby, Arsenal-Tottenham. Can Spurs keep Paul happy?
Well, again, this is a really tight one to call. I mean, I sort of just found that, I'd say, form, a little bit of form. Obviously, these wins, and they won last night, but they, against obviously a League One team. This is a game that neither team could afford to lose. I mean, Tottenham can't afford to lose it because obviously they're falling away after that good start. Arsenal have just come back with 2 wins, and I think there'll be goals. I find it a hard one to call. I think you could get any one of the 3 results for this one. They're normally quite feisty games, and I hope as a neutral, we get 4 or 5 goals in it.
Yeah, I think you're right.
That'll be a big win, 5-0.
Yeah, big win for Spurs. Steve, on to the championship. I know a couple of teams were upset last week. We kick off with league leaders Bournemouth at home to my team are back last week, Luton Town. How do you see it?
Yeah, I think Bournemouth have made a very steady start, and they've gone top, unbeaten. It was a good win at Cardiff last week. Thought that Cardiff would have held them. I think they'll win that. I think Bournemouth at home should be too strong.
All right, Birmingham against my boys Preston.
Yeah, Birmingham, I thought would bounce back for their defeat and get some results at Peterborough. They ended up getting well beaten.
Yeah.
Preston, as you know better than me how inconsistent they are. I think it'll probably be a home win, but I wouldn't put it past Preston to dig a point out of it.
Yeah, we're unbeaten in 5. But Blackburn versus Cardiff City.
Yeah, Blackburn a couple of times and they've let me down. At home, they are strong. Cardiff, had a disappointing result last week and will want to bounce back. I think of the 2, I still fancy Blackburn though.
Okie dokie. Bristol City, you can't win at home against your boys Fulham. Can you rebound?
Yeah, well, this is one of those games that Bristol City 14 games at home without a win. Yet away from home, they've won 3 out of 4 this season, and have not been playing that badly. It's a bit of a banana skin for us because I think everyone's looking at this thinking, well, we should bounce back and win it, and I hope we do. I can't see us losing, but I think Bristol City, on the back of that win at QPR, will be fairly buoyed by it. And, I'm just hoping that they go 15 without a win. Okie
dokie. And last but not least, Notts Forest under their new manager against Millwall.
Who's the new manager?
Steve Cooper.
Yeah, it's Steve Cooper. It's typical, isn't it? It's sort of Chris Hughton goes and they bounce back the next game straight away with a win, a good win at Huddersfield. Millwall are hard to beat, but I just got a feeling Forest now, having that win under the belt, getting a point before that, I think Forest should just edge that.
All right, Steve. Pressure time a game. I need your best bet.
Pressure
best
time.
Bet, please.
Yeah, tough one. I'm going to go for Swansea as my best bet.
Okay. Home,
Home, they're still quite strong.
Value bet?
They're very inconsistent. And my value bet, I'm going to get Reading. I thought they played very well at home. I mean, we probably should have beaten them. But Reading defensively was solid, and they 1 or 2 good players up front. So I think they might just be a little bit too strong. So I'm going to go plump for a Reading as my value bet.
Okay, Steve.
All right.
Steve, thank you very much. Good luck
Fantastic,
to your boys
Steve.
on the weekend, and we'll catch you over the weekend.
Yeah, I hope you'll be watching the Ryder Cup.
All right.
All right, Steve. Thanks for your help.
Yeah, looking forward.
Ryder Cup, Americans win easily.
Bye.
Thanks, Stevie.
Yes,
Thanks
Steve.
as always. Wonderful job.
We'll see.
Okay, there we go. Stevie B giving us all the updates. Thanks very much to him. Budge, let's get on to the Premiership fixtures and see what you can tell me about them.
Paul, the first game up is obviously the big one, Chelsea. This is a statement game for Chelsea. They get a result. They've played some decent teams. Liverpool away. This is another difficult game. They've had Arsenal and they've had Spurs. So tricky.
But the other team are the champions.
Well, I just don't see Man City getting beat. Chelsea do give you chances.
Yes.
Even last week, it was a tight game. Spurs were.
How was Aston Villa's chances against him?
Geez, even last
you give
night,
those to Man City, you're in trouble.
Score. I know they haven't got a centre forward, but De Bruyne and Pep. Of the 2 teams, I think it draws a play. A score draws 1-1 or something. But of the 2 teams, I like Man City.
I'm with
Chelsea,
you, Budge.
a little bit cocky at the moment.
They're
This is
good
a
side.
big test.
Good side.
But Man City are better.
Man
team.
United, Aston Villa will be a good game.
Paul, I've been impressed with Aston Villa.
So far.
They played great when they got beat by Chelsea. They played well against Everton. Everton had several people missing. Good result. They played well last night.
4-1 the draw.
Paul, I've got to go United. Ronaldo plays, it's a different team. Pogba will be playing, Bruno, Greenwood.
Okay.
Lunchtime kickoffs are always a problem, Paul, but should be United.
2 lunchtime kickoffs.
Yeah.
I have to have both TV sets on. Okay. Everton, Norwich.
Paul, Everton, reading this morning, Richarlison's out for a few weeks. Calvert-Lewin's out. The left back, Digne's now out. You never know what's happened with Pickford. The right back's out, Seamus Coleman. But Norwich have lost all 5.
Yeah.
If ever there's a banana skin, Paul, this could be. Everton should win. But with all the injuries, that Solomon Rondon's 32 up front. The balance doesn't seem right, Paul. I think there'll be goals because Norwich always go for it. But I just can't, put my hat on. If you went for Everton, I wouldn't blame you. But I think there's better bets this weekend.
Leeds, West Ham.
Paul, West Ham's on bit of the weekend. I was really impressed against United without their best player up front, Mikel Antonio. I watched him last night. They've got plenty of fight about them. I'm not impressed with Leeds, Paul. They should have beat Newcastle, struggling. Few boys, Bamford's not scoring, more likely to score a hat-trick. Paul, 14-10, I'm all over West Ham.
Okay, and Leicester, who won last night.
Paul, they won 2-0. They always beat the lesser teams, but they haven't really been dominating, Paul. They should beat Burnley, but, I can't have them. I think they'll score. My bet would be 2-1 Leicester to win, both teams to score. Schmeichel's not the best in the air, Paul. They've got big boys. So they should win, Paul.
Should win,
I'm not confident with them at all.
Okay, then the next part is Watford, who gained that win the other day against Newcastle, another struggler.
Struggling team, Paul. I just got a funny thing. This is time. Newcastle haven't played bad, Paul. They've just given away silly goals. And, Watford do give you a chance. This is going to be kamikaze. I'll be on the bookings, over 3.5 bookings. Desperate. I think it was even money last time I saw. Of the two teams, Paul, you can't separate them. The draw's a big player. Steve Bruce gets boot here. He's under severe pressure.
Brentford got it all to do.
Paul, Liverpool's best 11s is a match for anybody. I know their depth is questionable, but they're on form. Brentford were great last week, Paul. We made the comment that it was a massive game, seeing the next 5 games against big teams. They deserve to beat Wolves.
Yes.
Tony and Mbuema up front.
He's quite good, that boy up front.
Yeah, they're decent, Paul, but can they contain Liverpool? I don't see it, Paul. 12-10
Liverpool every now and then throw a wobbler.
Yeah, I just don't see it being this one.
Yeah,
Liverpool are on a mission. I think Liverpool win easy.
Southampton, Wolves, spin a coin?
I like Southampton, Paul. We have a look. They played 2 games at home against Man United. They could have won. Against West Ham, they should have won. Against Man City, if the Walker gets a red card and a penalty, I think they'd ended up winning that game. They just draw too many games. But I watch Wolves, Brentford. I'm not impressed with Wolves, Paul. They play football, but they don't score.
Yeah.
And looking at them at the back, they've got a few foreigners there, make stupid decisions.
They got a couple of boys back yesterday.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
so let's see. I like Southampton of the 2 teams, Paul.
Okay.
16-10, I think, is worth a nibble on anyway.
Yeah. All right, the next game's the derby. I'm obviously funking for Tottenham. It depends what team turns up. The team that turns up from last night, they've got a chance. And Arsenal, I don't think they're that good this year.
Paul, I watched them against Burnley. That was a game I watched last week. I hummed and hard which one. Paul, they get a free kick. Everyone jumps, bar the smallest they don't jump. It was a good goal, Paul, but if the guy jumps, he blocks.
Boom, boom.
They did defend a lot better. But I fancy Spurs are the 2 teams, Paul. Not to keep you happy, but there'll be goals, Paul.
Palace, Brighton are flying.
Paul, this is a derby. I didn't know. This is an Alan Mullery derby. There's always a bit of
there's 45 minutes car drive between the two.
But Alan Mullery left Crystal Palace to Brighton. It apparently became a derby. So don't know why. But, Paul, I just got a feeling Crystal Palace. They played well against Liverpool in patches. They beat Spurs 3-0. Yeah. Brighton do give you a chance.
Brighton can play, but
they can play, Paul, but that's a tight pitch.
Yeah.
I think
Palace is a very tight pitch.
Paul, I think there's goals in there. You've got to side with the draw. But wouldn't be surprised if there's an upset in that one.
All right, Championship, Budge. You all over it?
All over it. Paul, Friday. 2 games on Friday. So we've got something to watch. It'll be on.
Okay, after lunch.
Yeah. Coventry, 4 games at home, 4 victories. A man who saved Sir Alec Ferguson's job, Mark Robbins, doing a great job. I think they're 4th in the league. Peterborough beat Birmingham. I didn't see that coming, but I fancy Coventry, Paul. Should be too good.
The Brom?
Paul, I watched West Brom. I taped it. They drew 1-1 with Press, and we spoke about it last week, about the guy taking the long throw-ins. They had 4 towels on the corner flag at Preston. Yeah. Every time the guy went to take the long throw, he wiped the ball. And that's all they do. They're just a long throw merchant team, West Brom. QPR can play, Paul. I wouldn't be taking 7-10 West Brom. 8-10 both teams to score looks a certainty. But
Now Steve's value bet is Reading.
he fancies Reading. They've got 7 points from the last 2 games. They signed a few players.
7 points from 2
The
games.
last 3, sorry.
Jeez,
So
I thought that's a
point,
bonus.
yeah. The last 3. But they won the last 2 at home. Middlesbrough, Neil Warnock's team don't score goals.
Yeah.
That's the only
Like
problem.
Tony
there.
Pulis,
Even Chris Hughton. That's why they
Chris
got
Hughton.
fired. But a draw in Reading for me there. But
draw in Reading.
he watched Reading last week against Fulham, so maybe Steve knows something.
Yeah.
Then Bournemouth, Paul, every time we backed them, they've cost us money, but they should be too good for Luton. I went for Luton last week, 3-0 up with, I think, half an hour to go. It ended up being 3-3. So I think there'll be goals in it, Paul. We took Bournemouth to win and both teams to score at 5-2.
Yeah.
But Bournemouth should win comfortably.
All right, the next one down, Budge.
Yeah, the next page, Birmingham, my boys Preston. We're unbeaten in 5, Paul. Birmingham we went for last week, but they were disappointed when they lost 3-0 at struggling Peterborough.
I thought they were on the up. Who's
They
managing
were.
them now?
That's Lee Boyer, the Leeds guy.
right,
They've only
yeah.
won one of the last 5, Paul.
Okay.
So I'm hoping my Preston boys, I think we can get at least a draw there, Paul. Birmingham,
Okay.
we've normally got a decent record there.
Yeah.
Now Blackburn, Cardiff, Paul, Blackburn always score.
Yeah.
Cardiff has seemed to have lost their touch. Now, you can never say that in the Championship because it changes so quickly. But Blackburn in a draw for me there, Paul.
Okay.
Blackpool, they beat Fulham. They got a good result last week. They won 2-1, I think it was at Middlesbrough. Barnsley can't score. They haven't won in 6.
Oof.
So it's a draw, obviously, in the exotics. But if you've got to side with one of the teams, it's got to be Blackpool.
You're going to take 8 to 10?
Yeah, Paul, I watched Fulham against Leeds. That team
They
they
can
had
play.
out, they can play, Paul.
They can play.
Bristol City can't score at home, but I backed them last week. They conceded the 92nd minute. They're not a bad team, Bristol City. The only game they did lose at home was to Swansea, and they were all over them.
Yeah.
But I don't see Fulham, Paul. I like Fulham 8 to 10, Paul, but it won't be an easy game.
No. The last couple?
Yeah. Paul, Notts Forest, my best East value bet. I like Steve Cooper. He took the England under-20 team when they won the World Cup.
He's
He was at Swansea. They sold all his players, Ollie McBurney and Daniel James, so he was under pressure. Millwall are struggling. I think they've only won 1 of the 8 league games. 17 to 10, Notts Forest is for me, Paul.
Sheffield United on the up?
Yeah, you got it, Paul. I watched them last week. They were on at lunchtime. They beat Hull City 4-1. The boys, Billy Sharp on the score sheet. Yeah, they've sold all the players that wanted away, and now it's concentration.
They've still got David McGoldrick.
And McGoldrick said, Ollie McBurney. They've still got players, Paul.
Yeah.
But, I think they'll be
And
too good for Derby.
Derby have obviously went into administration, lost those points. They're now -2, but they are 9 points from safety. They've got a lot of league left.
Not a league left, Paul. They've only lost 1 in 6, but this is a difficult game at Sheffield United. They score goals.
Yeah.
So 7 to 10 Sheffield United for me there, Paul. And also Stoke City. Hull City have scored 5 goals this year. 4 was in the first game at Preston when they won 4-1. Should be Stoke all day. I know Steve didn't rate them when Fulham beat them 3-0 at home, but I think Stoke at their ground will be too good for Hull. And Steve fancies Swansea. I think that was his best bet of the weekend.
Was.
Huddersfield were going well. They'd won 3 in a row until Notts Forest arrived and beat them.
Yeah.
So side with Steve. I've added the draw in the exotics, Paul. Swansea in the draw for me there.
Okie dokie. Let's look at the PSL. Now, the Wednesday's PSL result, Budge, were a 2-2 draw, Arrows and Amazulu.
Yeah.
That's a derby.
That was 3 o'clock kickoff, Paul.
And Marisburg United, they came through and beat...
Paul, the guy scored a screamer. Everyone talks about how good Lingard's goal was. This was better. Same area. They gave the ball away, Maru McGallants, but the guy turned...
Maru McGallants, I don't know that.
That's TTM from last season.
Okay, well, they keep changing their names, these guys.
So, but that was a good goal, Paul. They were fortunate, but good result.
The draw merchants, they're going to win?
Paul, Cape Town City are better away from home than at home, but Swallows, their manager's been suspended from what I read. I don't know if they fired him, but he's under review. Paul, the draw with Swallows is always 21 to 10 the draw.
Yeah, that's right.
I like Amazulu. They got through in the CAF. They beat Big Bullets in Malawi 3-1 and drew 2-2 yesterday. Baraka's a funny team, but Paul, I like Amazulu 15 to 10.
Pirates, Sundowns, great game.
Great game, Paul. All the guys at the gates were telling me this is payback for the Pirates. They're going to beat them. I don't see it, Paul. It's like Man City. You've got to beat the champions. Sundowns are the champions. A draw is obviously a player, Paul, but of the two teams, I like Sundowns. Sega Kuna, they play Golden Arrows. Another tight game, Paul. That should be a draw.
Okay, put that as a draw. Let's move on to Supersport 6
Supersport at home.
Marisburg won during the week.
Yeah, Maritzburg won, Paul, but they were lucky. Supersports, they murdered Swallows last week. They won 3-0 away. 6-10 Super Sport, Paul. Good
Okay.
things.
Chipper, is that Hunt?
That's Gavin Hunt's team against Steve Barker's Stellenbosch team. Are going great. Of the two teams, I like Stellenbosch, but as we always say, Paul, be wary of the draw in the exotics.
Royal AM?
Well, Royal AM beat Kaiser Chiefs 4-1 last week. So you'd expect them. They're playing at Chatsworth Stadium. TS Galaxy, they got beat by Sundowns and Owen De Gama. I think they fired him after that Harding. I haven't read the latest. I tried to find it this morning, Paul. So if that's the case, Royal AM 7-10, Paul.
Are you taking 8-10 Chiefs?
No, I can't take 8-10 Chiefs, Paul. Everyone's up in arm against Stuart Baxter, changing his tactics. Maruma Gallants, they did play
They're
well
the biggest
last night.
grumblers in the league, Chiefs.
Yeah,
They
but-
expect to be up where Sundowns are every year.
Like Man United, Paul, but mediocre players aren't going to get you anywhere. So a draw's a player for me there, Paul. All three's got to come and play in the exotics.
Okay, Maruma
Gallants is TTM, the old. They were in
TTM.
CAF.
Who were TTM before?
They were Shakuma Madsi. They were, I think it was Bidvest Wits.
Okay, right, Budge, let's go look at these soccer pools.
Yeah, well, the first one is our Gold Circle Soccer 6, and I'm going Man City win and draw at Chelsea. I've got a banker Man United to beat Aston Villa at home. I've thrown the draw in with Everton at home against Norwich. I don't see West Ham United losing at Leeds United. I've thrown the draw in looking for the upset, Leicester City against Burnley, and I think Liverpool would be too good for Brentford. 96.
96, okay.
On to the Phumelela Soccer 6 PSL. I'm going Amazulu win and draw against Baraka. I'm going Sundowns to avoid defeat against Orlando Pirates. I'm going Sekhukhune United win and draw at home against Golden Arrows. I like West Ham United to avoid defeat at Leeds United. I'm bankering Supersport United to beat Maritzburg United, and going Stellenbosch win and draw at home against Gavin Hunt's Chipper United 192.
Okie
On to
dokie.
our Gold Circle Soccer 10. I'm going Man City win and draw against Chelsea. I'm bankering Man United to beat Aston Villa. I went the field in the Reading versus Middlesbrough game. I've thrown the draw in with Everton at home against Norwich due to the injury crisis. I've gone West Ham United win and draw at Leeds United. On to the second page, I'm going Leicester City win and draw against Burnley. I've gone the field in the Watford Newcastle match. It ended up with three bankers. Fulham to beat Bristol City, Sheffield United to beat Derby, and Liverpool to beat Brentford 288.
Okay.
Soccer 13, which will be about 40 million with a carryover this weekend. I'm bankering Liverpool to beat Brentford. I'm chancing West Ham to win at Leeds, Leicester to beat Burnley. I've thrown the draw in with Everton against Norwich City. I'm going the field in the Watford Newcastle United fixture. I'm going Blackburn Rovers win and draw at home against Cardiff City. I think my Preston North End boys can avoid defeat at Birmingham City. On to the second page, I'm going Blackpool win and draw against Barnsley. I'm bankering Fulham to beat Bristol City. I fancy Nottingham Forest to beat Millwall, Sheffield United to beat Derby, Stoke City to beat Hull City, and ending up with the field in the Swansea City Huddersfield Town fixture 288.
Those are tough, eh?
Very difficult. Paul
Right,
will
my
play well.
favourite sheet, Budge. Tell
Yeah,
me your
Paul,
thinking here.
yeah, you
I
know,
want to
if they-
know your thinking.
Paul,
Sit back and relax.
If they can just make it a little bit bigger, I'm going West Ham to beat Leeds United. I'm going Southampton to beat Wolves, and I'm going over 2.5 goals in the Man United, Aston Villa, Everton, Norwich games, 2,200 to 200. Both teams to score size. I'm going Chelsea, Man City, Everton, Norwich, Leicester, Burnley, and Crystal Palace, Brighton, 2,300 to 200. I was going to add the Spurs in, Paul, but it was 4 to 10, so no real value. On to the Championship. I think Nottingham Forest will beat Millwall. I'm going Stoke City to beat Hull City, and I'm going Bournemouth to beat Luton Town, and both teams to score 2,900 to 200. Our Championship, both teams to score sides are West Brom QPR, Birmingham Preston, Blackburn Cardiff City, and Swansea Huddersfield Town 2,200 to 200. Our team goals only. All these teams have to score over 1.5 goals or a minimum of 2. I'm going West Ham, Southampton, and Tottenham to score at least 2 against Arsenal. I fancy Spurs to cause an upset this week. 12 to 1, 2,400 to 200. And our Collis King 6 or Nixa. I'm going Man United to beat Aston Villa, West Ham to beat Leeds United, Bournemouth to beat Luton Town, Stoke City to beat Hull City, Bayern Munich to beat Greuther Fürth on Friday, and Inter
Greuther
Milan
Fürth.
to beat Atalanta. 3,900.
That's a nice one, Budge. Let's hope for it. So it's all go, go, go.
Our Friday Championship kick-off, Paul. Obviously, the PSL starts
When
part of
does
that.
the Premier League kick off? Saturday?
Lunchtime, yeah,
Because of the
one.
guys' last one standing.
Last one standing, 1:30.
So last one standing, guys, is 1:30 is the kick-off. We're down to 112.
112.
112 left. So get your bets on, get hold of Budge, and we'll find out who the new champ's going to be, or if one of the reigning guys can win it again. Till next time, stay on side.